Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take some time now and introduce our special guest speaker. In the last century, the Liberal Party of Canada took on the mantle of Canada's natural governing party, a bold claim but warranted, based partly on the lock they held on their power, partly on the pragmatism and political savvy of their leadership. But it was also based on a legacy handed down from Liberal leader to Liberal leader throughout Canada's formative 20th century, one that held that their practical political ambitions could be fused to a progressive vision they held for the country and loved. It was an ideal that inspired Wilfrid Laurier to proclaim that the 20th century belonged to Canada. The Liberal Party ideal was that of Canada both economically successfully and socially just. Times change. Our 21st century presents new challenges for the world, for Canada, and for the Liberal Party. But a characteristic of the Liberal Party has always been one of reinvention when faced with setbacks. It's a party that builds on what it knows is of value in its inheritance and then confronts new challenges head-on. Our honoured guest is the latest torchbearer of the Liberal Party legacy, and he knows full well that he stands on the shoulders of many giants. 20 years ago, StÉPhane Dion built his party leadership campaign. 2 years ago, I'm sorry. Dated you already. 2 years ago, StÉPhane Dion built his party leadership campaign on the Liberal transition for success, economic prosperity, and social justice. But the key to his exciting 2006 convention floor victory was the addition of a third vital component in what he termed a three-pillar approach to public policy, environmental sustainability. Few would argue that the most urgent issue facing our society and our government, indeed humanity as a whole, is the climate crisis. It may be very well an election-defining issue. Mr. Dion has indicated that he believes that it is time for public debate on many elements of climate change, a true public debate, one that he believes would see Canada as a richer, fairer, greener place for us all to call home. Indeed, StÉPhane Dion has been talking about his Liberal vision of richer, fairer, greener Canada for some time. He does it in the great tradition of his party because he believes it is the right approach at the right time. And as history has proved for the Liberals, doing what is right can also mean political success. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to our podium today the very special guest speaker, Leader of the Liberal Party of Canada, StÉPhane Dion.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Merci. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Thank you, Alan. I think it's a superb introduction to the topic that I want to develop because indeed it's about how to make sure that Canada will win in the 21st century. Distingués invités, chers collègues d'hier, d'aujourd'hui et de demain, Mesdames et Messieurs, I want to thank the Canadian Club for giving me the opportunity to speak to people here in Toronto who are concerned about the environment, especially climate change. People who are worried about the slowdown of Canada's economy and higher energy costs. And people who see that too many Canadians, too many families are left behind. Canadians need a government that will address all these concerns. Canadians worry about their standard of living, want to help not only themselves, but their neighbors, and want to protect the planet for their children. Well, I have good news. The good news is that we Liberals have a vision that addresses all these concerns. A vision for a richer, fairer, greener Canada. A vision that will bring together the economy, the environment, and social justice. The Harper government believes you have to choose between a strong economy and a clean environment. They say you cannot have both. And they don't have a plan to fight poverty. They do not even mention the issue. Well, if Prime Minister Harper needs a lesson on how to pronounce the expression fight against poverty, I will gladly volunteer to teach him how to say it in both official languages. We liberals believe this kind of thinking that pits the economy, the environment, and social justice against each other not only demonstrates a lack of imagination, but is simply wrong. We can do better as a country, and we must. The economic challenges we are facing today are clear. Our currency has gone up. The United States is on the brink of a recession. Our fossil fuel-dependent economy is struggling with higher energy costs, and we face increased competition from emerging economies. To overcome these challenges, we need to think more creatively, work more cooperatively, and be ready to unleash all of our talents to ensure our economic prospects remain bright. These are not simply the challenges of today. These challenges will continue through the 21st century. We can adopt the conservative approach of ignoring the problem and hoping it goes away. Or we can make bold but necessary choices that will allow us to turn these challenges into opportunities. That's why we must create competitive advantages by lowering taxes on things we want more of: income, innovation, savings, and investment. And we must shift those taxes towards the things we want less of: pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, smog, and waste. And in doing so, we also will be able to help the middle class and lift many Canadians out of poverty so they can offer all their talents and skills to the nation. We are a nation of 33 million people, facing giants like United States, Europe, Japan, China, India. To win in the global economy, we need to bring down the barriers to inclusion and allow every Canadian to contribute to the success of the nation. Nous devons donner à notre pays un nouvel avantage concurrentiel. Pour ce faire, nous devons baisser les impôts sur ce que nous voulons renforcer: le revenu, l'innovation, l'épargne, l'investissement. Et nous devons déplacer cet effort fiscal vers ce que nous voulons réduire: la pollution, les gaz à effet de serre, le smog, le gaspillage. En prenant ces mesures, nous pourrons aussi venir en aide à notre classe moyenne et aider de nombreux Canadiens à sortir de la pauvreté, de manière à ce qu'ils puissent tous offrir leurs talents et leurs compétences à notre pays. Unleashing a more dynamic, competitive economy by cutting the right taxes, becoming global environmentally leaders, by putting a price on pollution, and building a more inclusive society by reducing poverty require a bold vision and real leadership. I will not hesitate to provide this leadership to my country, Canada. I've done it before. When, under Jean Chrétien, I brought clarity to the unity debate and fought for Canada's unity, remember how many people said, "Don't do it, it's too risky. People won't understand it." They said it may be good policy, but it's bad politics. This is what they said. But I knew that Canadians, including my fellow Quebecers, wanted clarity instead of confusion. I didn't think that it was risky because I knew people would understand what we were going to achieve together. And more importantly, I was. and will always be convinced that good policy must be good politics. This is precisely why I entered politics and why I want to become Prime Minister of this country. I entered politics to help Canada stay united. And now I want to become Prime Minister to make that united Canada richer, fairer and greener. And my approach will remain the same. Make good policies, good politics. Canadians deserve no less than that. Je suis entré en politique pour aider le Canada à rester uni. Et aujourd'hui, je veux être Premier ministre pour aider ce Canada uni à devenir plus prospère, plus juste et plus vert. Ma démarche n'a pas changé et elle ne changera pas. Une bonne politique publique, ça doit faire une politique gagnante. Les Canadiens ne méritent pas moins. C'est ce qu'ils veulent, c'est ce qu'il faut leur offrir. When it comes to clarity, what can be clearer? We need to make polluters pay and put every single penny back in the hands of Canadians through the right tax cuts. The polluters will pay, and all Canadians will gain. I'm convinced that far too many political elites underestimate Canadians. When you speak to the minds and big hearts of our great people, good policies translate into good politics. In fact, time and time again, Canadians have been ahead of their politicians in knowing what needs to be done to move this country forward. The Conservatives will try to confuse, mislead and scare Canadians. They have already started to try. To borrow an expression from Pierre Elliott Trudeau, Liberals and I will speak over the heads of Stephen Harper and the Conservatives to the people of this land, because I do not believe in the politics of fear. I believe in the politics of hope. In the coming weeks and months, we Liberals will release our plan on a green shift for the Canadian economy. We will set the agenda for an honest national debate on how to reconcile the economy and the environment so that no Canadian is left behind. I hope the Conservatives join us in this debate in an honest way. They avoid it at their own peril. Canadians are ready for this debate. They want solutions. They are tired of excuses. Je suis sûr que beaucoup trop de membres des hautes sphères politiques sous-estiment les Canadiens. Lorsqu'on s'adresse à l'esprit et au grand cœur de nos remarquables citoyens, les bonnes orientations, les bonnes politiques publiques sont reconnues comme des politiques gagnantes. Dans les semaines et les mois qui viennent, nous les libéraux allons dévoiler notre plan pour relancer l'économie sur une voie plus verte. Nous allons lancer un véritable débat national sur ce qu'il faut faire pour réconcilier l'économie et l'environnement et faire en sorte qu'aucun Canadien ne soit laissé pour compte. I am convinced that Canadians are ready for a tax system that makes it easier to create jobs, not more difficult. A tax system that encourages innovation instead of stifling it. A tax system that discourages pollution instead of rewarding it. It's what I believe. As I said, the time has come for Canadians to pay less tax on good things, such as work, savings and investment. The time has come to put a price on waste and pollution. The time has come to do what is right, not what is easy. Countless experts are calling for this bold change. In February, David Suzuki said this: British Columbia now, I'm proud to say, is leading the way in North America with a really groundbreaking carbon-neutral, revenue-neutral carbon tax. And I think that this is something that we've got to see now sweep across the country. This is David Suzuki. But did you know that Tom D'Aquino, President of the Canadian Council of Chief Executives, has also said, and I quote, increased revenues from environmental taxation could be offset by reductions in corporate and personal income tax so that Canada can continue to attract the capital, innovation and people to foster the technology shift that is critical to tackling climate change. Chers amis, my dear friends, when David Suzuki and Tom D'Aquino agree on strategy, there is something going on here. Yesterday, a poll showed that many Canadians are worried that we will pass on to the next generation a lower quality of life than the one we enjoy today. We would be the first generation of Canadians to fail our children in this way, the first one. This cannot be. We cannot let it happen. We cannot do that to our children and grandchildren. We are facing an economic slowdown. We are among the planet's worst polluters. We still have to win the fight against poverty right here in Canada. Well, we need a plan that will address all these economic, environmental, and social challenges together. A plan that will turn these challenges into opportunities. A plan for a great people up for a great challenge. A plan that's good for your wallet and good for the planet. You see, it's more than just a debate about tax cuts, or about putting a price on carbon, or about fighting poverty. It's a debate about the future of our country. What we need to do to win in this global economy and to lead in the 21st century, where the main challenge will be nothing less than reconciling people with the planet. We need to be brave, not blind, when facing up the challenges of our century. Premier Charest, Premier Campbell have demonstrated that they are serious about fighting climate change by putting a price on carbon. And here in Ontario, Premier McGuinty and his government are working to build a sustainable future by bringing together economic growth, environmental sustainability, and social justice through initiatives like the Next Generation of Jobs Fund. The McGuinty government understands you cannot choose between these three goals, economy, social, environment. You cannot choose between them without jeopardizing all of them. They understand that this is what we need to do to support our industry and our workers, including our manufacturing sector. They are providing solid leadership today for a better Ontario and a better Canada tomorrow. I know that Ontarians are supportive of Finance Minister Dwight Duncan and Premier McGuinty's cooperative forward-looking approach to Ontario's economy. I know they wish Jim Flaherty would adopt a similar approach and work with the province instead of making a difficult situation worse by deliberately antagonizing the McGuinty government. In challenging times, Canadians expect their government to put partisanship aside and work together. Canadians expect each level of government, but especially the federal government, to provide leadership and do what it can to help, not foster divisions and create more problems, to help. Et ce leadership, je veux l'offrir, nous libéraux, voulons l'offrir au Québec, ma province, ici même en Ontario, et à tout le Canada, pour que chacun d'entre nous, pour nos enfants et pour les générations à venir, nous puissions réussir tous ensemble. I want to provide this leadership. We Liberals want to provide this leadership for my province of Quebec, for right here in Ontario, across Canada, for all of us, our children, and the generations to come. Merci. Thank you very much.
I'm going to call on Tenio Evangeliste to provide a thank you.
Thanks, Alan, and thanks to everyone here for coming out today. And a special thank you to the Honourable StÉPhane Dion for sharing your vision on how Canada can build a bridge to the future. For me, it's a pleasure to share the stage with you and an honour. As one who was part of the Chrétien government in the post-referendum era, I want to take this opportunity to publicly say thank you to Mr. Dion for your tireless work on the National Unity File, for your unwavering support of federalism in Quebec and in the rest of Canada, and for your important role in giving us the Clarity Act. You selflessly took on this daunting challenge, often a thankless one, armed with reason and passion and under constant personal attack, because you believed in a united Canada from coast to coast to coast. For this, we are eternally grateful. Now, more than ever, we need to discover a path for the security of our nation's future. This is a duty we owe to the planet and to our children who will inherit it. We need to dare to imagine new solutions to the global climate crisis and work together to build them. To do that, we need to make bold choices and be fair to all. And as StÉPhane Dion has said, what is fair may also be in our economic interest. A vital part of the Liberal Party's success has historically been rooted in the vision of its leaders. A vision of economic prosperity, social justice, and forward thinking. A bright, progressive ideal of Canada's potential inspired the great nation builders of this country. Thank you, Mr. Dion, for your inspiring words and for carrying this proud legacy forward into the future.
Thanks, Tenyu. That concludes our lunch. I'll give Gerard one more plug with his little card there. Have a great afternoon. Enjoy the sunshine.